Thank you very much. A live look now at Capitol Hill, where War Secretary Pete Hegseth and Joint Chiefs Chairman Dan Kane are about to pitch lawmakers on an emergency funding request as the war in Iran heats back up.
So the Senate hearing comes after 10 straight days now of U.S. airstrikes, and the Pentagon says they need emergency funds to sustain that pace. We will listen in on Hegseth and Kane as they get underway.
If we left today, it would take them decades to rebuild, and I don't believe they could ever rebuild. And honestly, they haven't seen anything yet. We've been nice. We've been nice. I will tell you, they want to desperately meet, and until they're ready to meet in a meaningful way, we have no interest in even.
You heard it there. President Trump says Iran desperately wants to meet, but he says he's in no rush as he weighs a crucial decision whether to restart full-scale operations against Tehran. Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm Sandra Smith in New York on this Tuesday afternoon. Jillian, great to have you back today.
Thank you. It's great to be with you here in New York, Sandra, back in my hometown. I'm Jillian Turner. This is America Reports. John is off today. President Trump's decision point comes now in the wake of 3 U.S. service members being killed in action by Iran's counterstrikes. The president says the regime now will pay a hefty price for taking that blood and treasure.
Former CENTCOM Deputy Director Robert Harward will be joining us right here live in moments. But first, let's get to our senior White House correspondent, Peter Doocy. He's got the very latest for us from there. Peter?
Sandra, good afternoon. And just in the last 2 minutes or so, we watched as the Lebanese president exited the White House grounds. He was the president's guest earlier, and during an Oval Office sit-down, the president revealed that he isn't just trying direct diplomacy by talking to other world leaders. He is willing to try direct diplomacy by talking to terror group leaders, and he revealed this in the context of a meeting designed to try to figure out how to stop the war between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon.
Are you still speaking with Hezbollah? You said in previous interviews that you're speaking with Hezbollah.
I wouldn't say that, but I would speak to Hezbollah. Yeah. I speak to everybody. I'll speak to people that a lot of people think I shouldn't be speaking to, and things work out.
President Trump has also announced every time Iran kills an American soldier, they will pay for that killing many times over. This directive has been passed on to the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Daniel Kane, and every leader in the military. Iran's commitment to disrupting traffic in the Strait of Hormuz has been affecting global commerce, but the president's core advisors now exist. The economy that's really hurting is inside Iran.
We think the inflation rate is upwards of 180% in Iran. So, the government is causing the people to suffer. And we're going to keep pressing, but we're also going to marshal the resources and save the resources that we recover for the Iranian people when we get on the other side of this.
But as President Trump prepares to attend a dignified transfer of the remains of these service members who have been killed over the last couple days by Iranian missiles or Iranian drones, he is making clear that the next phase of this war with Iran is all about retaliation and revenge for them. Sandra?
Got it. Peter Doocy with that live from the White House for us. Thank you, Peter. Now let's bring in former CENTCOM Deputy Commander and retired Navy SEAL Robert Harward. Sir, welcome to you. First up, this exclusive from the Wall Street Journal earlier yesterday. Israel believes Iran moved nuclear centrifuges into Pickaxe Mountain. Israel passed along the intelligence findings to the U.S., saying that these centrifuges were transferred to Pickaxe, the site, last fall after the 12-day war in June, when American and Israeli strikes pummeled Iran's 3 main nuclear sites. President Trump was asked about this earlier today, sir, and said this.
It doesn't mean anything unless they have the material. They don't have. We follow the material. That's where the action is. And we'll be hitting that area probably pretty soon. And there's not a thing they can do about it.
So is this the right path forward, do you believe?
Well, the right path is this escalation of force the president's doing, not only with military power, but economic power, as you just heard the Secretary of Treasury talk about. We're starving them out financially. We've shut down the blockade. They have no money coming in. So just as you're seeing the Secretary of War and the chairman up on the Hill looking for money, they're looking for money as well. And on top of that, they're reaching out and leveraging all their political partners. You know, they have down in Yemen, you have the Houthis now declaring a blockade on the Saudis. You have the Lebanese government working with Hezbollah. So they're pulling out all the strings they can to survive. So we'll get to the nukes and that nuke issue, but first making sure they can't project any power through their missiles, their drones, or their surrogates is at the top of the list. If you accomplish that objective, the rest of it will come very readily, and it undermines the government of Iran significantly. So I think the path they're on, this escalation, is exactly what is needed at this moment to drive them to their knees and capitulate on all these objectives.
Another issue President Trump was asked about there earlier today at the White House was the Institute for the Study of War on the Houthis. The Houthis announced the naval blockade against Saudi Arabia could result in an expansion of the shipping crisis in the Middle East, as it will almost certainly increase the cost of shipping through the Red Sea by discouraging ships from transiting the waterway. President Trump was asked specifically about this earlier and said this.
They've had no problem with us for a long period of time, including during this conflict. I think that if there is something like that, we'll just have to take care of business.
What does that tell you?
Well, it tells me it's important, but again, we don't know their capabilities. The Houthis have no indigenous weapons. All their supply, their finances, weapons come from Iran or maybe even North Korea. So do they have the capability to do that? That's a real threat at this point, and only a threat. We don't know. They'll have to demonstrate their capabilities. Do they still have missiles and drones that could affect the Bab and Mandeb? And as you've seen in previous conflicts where UAE and Saudi was at war with the with the Houthis, if they challenge us, I believe we'll have a broader coalition to go after that part of the problem.
We hear a lot about retaliation, especially following the death of those U.S. service members, while Iran is now vowing that they are fighting a full-scale war. How would you characterize this point in this conflict?
They're reaching their end state. They've got real problems, so they've got to use everything they have left. As we continue to decimate and take out their missiles and drones, they're finding the best and easiest solutions. The shots into Jordan, other places that may be more vulnerable and not have the defenses of other bases or other countries. So they're going to use those limited or what they have left to hit those targets they know they can hit. So again, it's an indication they're really in dire straits financially and militarily. And once they run out of missiles and drones, then they have nothing to keep the regime in place other than their surrogates. So this escalation of power, this escalation of strikes, and the financial blockade and other means to starve them financially is really driving them to their needs. And I'm sure with political will in this country, we can outmatch them and see that end state come to fruition.
Former CENTCOM Deputy Commander Robert Harward, appreciate your time today and your analysis. Thank you very much.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.